been learning more about the circumstances of Zya Singleton's death. October 30th, police got the call the little girl had fallen from a second-floor window. Now police say they know the real story. And her provider, Zya Brown, has been charged with a host of crimes. Action News reporter Christy Leto was live at the DA's office in Center City. Christy, police calling this one of the worst cases of child abuse they have ever seen.
That's right, Jim. Jasmine Singleton says that she gave her daughter Zya away to a family friend so that she could avoid going into the system while she tried to get her life on track, not knowing that she would give her to a woman who authorities say would abuse her daughter for several years.
My child's head was open in the middle.
Jasmine Singleton could barely recognize her daughter Zya at the hospital last month.
Then she had a big hole in her head. Like, yo, dog, I don't wish that on nobody.
She'd given Zya away to family friend Zya Brown while she got her life on track. But that changed when police responded to a call of a child who had fallen from a two-story window. There they discovered the 4-year-old inside Brown's home with brutal injuries.
This has been going on for probably the last 2 years. Certainly the most serious of these injuries, the ones that led to the infections that caused her death.
The DA's office says they have a notarized letter from 2016 where Singleton gave custody of her daughter to Brown. She says DHS deemed her home unfit for her children, so she turned to her stepbrother's wife for help.
I looked at her and I said to you, can you take my daughter until I get proper housing? Because I thought that was the best thing. Because prior to that, she's been always caring for Zya.
What's not immediately clear is if DHS did a background check on Brown or if they checked in on Zya at all.
There was no report. I believe no one was seeing her. I really believe that she was sort of lost to all of us.
Apparently, Brown never admitted any wrongdoing, but did admit to putting the sutures and stitches in herself on Zya.
If I could do it all again, I would. Because I never expected to get my baby back dead.
Now,
welcome. And to my returning watchers, welcome back. This story is quite gruesome. It's about a monster who brutally hurt a little girl. The descriptions in this story will put you in the mind of exorcists or even all of the Sauls. That's how ridiculous it is. Look, I do these because I love children. I love my children and I love other children. They can't speak for themselves. They are our unheard voices. We owe it to them. You owe it to them to at least listen to my stories. If they can go through it, we can at least live through it and try to picture what that baby went through. And some of us can put our voice together and make sure the person that did the crime doesn't get out of jail. Also, use these words and these stipulations to help someone that you know that is abusive. Help someone that you know that may be abusive, and tell on, see something, say something. See something, say something. Watch your children. Do not put your children in other people's care, and don't you hurt your children. If your life is crappy, it's because of you, not because of your child. Love your children. The story is coming up next, but I wanted to say this. Listen to the story. You have a news clipping, and then I tell you the story in depth. Zya went through a lot, y'all. Listener discretion is advised. Thanks for listening. This is the story of Zya Singleton. Zya was a 4-year-old little girl whose mom gave her to her brother's girlfriend, Zya Brown. Her mother's name is Jasmine Singleton. Jasmine had a notarized letter written up for Zya to receive her child because she did not have adequate housing and did not want Zya taken by the state. Zya was abused, in my opinion, shortly after her brother left Zya, which is the majority of this baby's short life. No child deserves to be treated like this. So on this day, and this is your disclaimer, if you have a weak stomach or whatever, I would tell you to stop right here because it will get graphic. So on October the 30th, Samilia called 911, stating that Zya was playing with the cat and fell out of the second floor window. That will let you know how bad she had just beaten this child for her to have to say she fell out the second floor window. This was the last worst torture that Zya would receive. When the paramedics got there, Samilia had Zya in the bathtub, submerged in water. They asked Samilia when was the last time Zya went to the doctor. Zya had not went to the doctor since her first year of life, in 2016. Found on Zamaya's body were burns on her arms and her upper thighs. She was missing her upper lip and nose. There were visible homemade stitches on these injuries. Open puncture wounds, broken bones in her arm from being restrained in some type of way. And I'm going to believe Zya was trying to break away from whatever it was. Bite marks, and there were healing plugs in her skin and fresh bite marks. The lady had homemade stitches in this baby's mouth and head. Some of the stitch marks, and it was about six or seven, they were healing. She had already previously stitched the baby. Samilia stitched the baby. Can y'all imagine that alone? She had needle and some kind of threading substance. They said it was green. The coroner determined that Zya's cause of death was sepsis. She had built an infection that her body would not heal from her getting these homemade stitches from Samilia. WTF. So this monster abused this baby so badly that she would need stitches. She don't take her to the doctor. She goes and buys the needle and the thread herself and commences to stitching her. Y'all, this literally sounds like something from the movie Saw, or even worse. This beautiful, innocent baby girl endured what those adults endure on the movie Saw. My thoughts is that there was a breakup, maybe 6-7 months after the baby was given to Samilia. Because she was taking care of her while the brother was there, because she took her to the doctor in 2016. They said she had an ear infection. So I believe the baby received the wrath of a woman scorned. She did to that baby what she wanted to do but couldn't do to Jasmine Singleton's, the bio mom's brother. Now, speaking of Jasmine, she did right by the baby initially, because we always say, don't hurt the baby, give it to somebody that can care for it. But Samilia was nobody that could care for it, honestly. She had 4 children of her own. She just was a lady with a house and with her brother, but if you look at her, she does not look like a responsible person. Jasmine did not visit this baby. That's a big red flag. You did not check on your baby. According to these injuries that Zya sustained, if she was being visited, Jasmine would at least saw one. She had injuries from the top of her head to the bottom of her legs. Once that brother was no longer there, y'all, I believe Jasmine should have retrieved her child. You didn't know this lady. You trusted her because she was with your brother. So you left your child with a monster, Jasmine. And to other parents, listen to this story. If you have to give your child away for whatever reason, temporarily, this is what Jasmine said she was doing, temporarily, visit your child. Check on your child. Lay eyes on your child and leave the child with the intention of returning and getting your baby back. Have y'all ever heard this story? This was a story that hurt me to listen to, and I didn't leave out a lot of facts, but I didn't get as graphic as I could have. But just by listening, like I said, to the injuries, you can picture what poor Zya went through. Have y'all ever heard of this story? Baby Zya died 4 days after the police was called on November the 3rd. And Samilia the monster was given life in prison without parole. A baked potato built, low down, black and mild stained teeth helper, man. Comment some pink hearts for Zya, in which everybody failed. Jasmine, Jasmine's brother, Jasmine's mother, they all left her there without even checking on her. Let this be a lesson. That's why I do these stories. We need to learn these lessons. I can't fuss about see something, say something because they didn't even go look to see. Try your best to be ready when you have a baby. But if life hits and you don't want the state to take your child and you see a fit adult, put in your clause on your notarized letter that you visit once a week, twice a week, or whatever you want to visit your child so you can lay eyes on your baby. Pink hearts for Zya, y'all. Thanks for listening.